When it comes to watching movies around the holidays, you really have your pick of the litter. There are thousands, thousands. And a lot of them have been retold, reimagined, remade. But one in particular definitely has a pretty interesting history, and that's A Christmas Carol. The original novel is 180 years old as of recording of this video this year. And to celebrate that, Four Horsemen Studios, the figure company, the action figure company, came out with the Ghost of Jacob Marley action figure, which I picked up. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that and some of my, I guess, favorite versions of A Christmas Carol. I could spend a lot of time unpacking all the different reimaginings and retelling of this story that's been in TV, cartoons, movie, stage, you name it. But maybe I'll save that for a later time. I'm just going to hit some of my favorites. And I gotta say, I've always really liked this story. I think it's really great how the first half of it's very dark, and I mean very dark in a lot of the versions. And the second half really opens up and it has this really nice, bright holiday story, a good life lesson to be learned from everyone, good to watch with the family. And it's really neat to see each version's different take on the ghost, how they represent the original story or how they derail from it, or how they use the original novel as a inspiration to reimagine it all together. My first experience with A Christmas Carol had to be from those flip-through books that you would follow along with a 45 record, and I know for a fact that that's the first time I ever heard this story. Does that ring a bell?
You will know it is time to turn the page when you hear the chimes ring like this.
Soon after, I remember seeing the Disney animated movie, Mickey's Christmas Carol from 1983. Still one of my favorite versions of the movie. I know people give it hell for showing Mickey being upset or crying, but come on people, I mean that's part of the story. Over the years, we've gotten several different versions of Mickey Christmas Carol figures released, but one that stands out to me is this gigantic Ebenezer Scrooge by Super 7. It's more like a doll than a figure. Very neat, but at a $300 price tag, a bit out of my range for something like this. Disney's take on the old Christmas classic is not the only animated version of this by far. As a matter of fact, Looney Tunes took a stab at it. I believe the Flintstones had it. I mean, it's been in a lot of different animated TV series, and there's actually another full-length animated feature from 1997 with Tim Curry as Ebenezer Scrooge, and I think that's perfect casting. There's some really cute moments with Scrooge's dog. And I don't remember Scrooge having a dog in a lot of the other versions, but I think it's really funny.
He likes me, Father.
Oh. Damn it! Get the light, you liability.
No Christmas is complete without watching A Muppet Christmas Carol, another version I'm dear of. And I love seeing all my Muppet friends in the roles of A Christmas Carol, and you know, Michael Caine's a great Scrooge within itself, so a great version. They actually did some figures for this as well. Just Toys did some Bend-Em figures. That Kermit one's awesome. I would really like to have that one. And then there's also some other ones that have been released over the years for this one as well. So very cool. If you're a collector, you might want to pick those up. For live action versions, I've got to go with the 1984 version of A Christmas Carol with George C. Scott. That whole cast is really, really great. There's some creepy moments. I love how they represent the ghost very much straight from the novel. And as I talk about the figure from Four Horsemen later, I really do think that the Jacob Marley figure closely resembles this one to me. I mean, it's a mixture of maybe a lot of them and inspiration. And their website, Four Horsemen's website, has a really great article where they go into their inspiration for the figure and a deep dive on A Christmas Carol itself. So go check that out. A lot of people say that the Alistair Sim version of A Christmas Carol is their favorite. It's from 1951. I can't disagree how good it is, and I thought it was worth mentioning in this video. A Christmas Carol definitely served an inspiration for other Christmas movies. I mean, you could see it in It's a Wonderful Life. I think that one closely relates to A Christmas Carol, and you could see the inspiration there. But for reworkings, reimaginings, my favorite has to be Scrooged. Bill Murray is great in the role of the Ebenezer Scrooge type character, and they really took the story of A Christmas Carol and gave it a nice 80s coat of paint, so to speak. And the special effects and makeup in this movie are just great. And I like the direction they went with some of the ghosts, doing some things obviously different from the original story. I mean, it is an adaptation after all, but it's great. I watch it every year, and I really do think it's a shame that they did not make a figure, someone hasn't done a custom figure or something of the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. That would be awesome. Matter of fact, if someone decided to do a whole line of figures from this movie, I'd probably buy in on it. But Scrooged, I really enjoy it. My favorite adaptation of A Christmas Carol. So the Ghost of Jacob Marley figure by Four Horsemen comes from their Figure Obscura line. I actually have one other Figure Obscura, and that's the Mask of Red Death figure they did earlier this year. So Four Horsemen does something really neat with their packaging, which I haven't seen a lot of other figure companies do. It's this magnetic case that opens up to reveal the figure, but also acts as a backdrop if you want to take pictures of it, which I love to do. And the artwork itself is just incredible, and it's a really neat thing that they do, and I would love to see more figure companies do something like this. And once we get the figure out of the package, you see the great detail that it has with its sculpt of the figure itself, but also the accessories. It's just top notch. And I have 3 Four Horsemen figures in my collection currently. I've got a few more on pre-order, and I gotta say, they have slowly become one of my favorite toy lines, and especially if they keep pumping out these Figure Obscura figures, which typically have references to literature or motion picture in some degree, and that's right in my wheelhouse. I love collecting movie merchandise, even figures from literature or books. I'm not above or not opposed to collecting, but they did such a fantastic job with this. I was really blown away. And if you collect modern figures, you know the amount of hands that you get to pose your figure different ways. I'm here for it. And I haven't got a chance to really pose this figure the way that I would probably display it. Time just hasn't allowed for it. And there's a disclaimer inside the package of this figure, which I'll kind of get into. And I do this with a lot of my figures. It's kind of common knowledge, but I love how Four Horsemen puts this right in the package, so you know, hey, before you go posing it and doing all weird sort of different pictures and things like that, you may want to heat the joints of your figure up. And I really appreciate that they add that disclaimer in there for people that may not know. This time of year, as most of us do, I stay super busy, so I haven't got a chance to even hit a blow dryer to its joints and really flex them and so I could pose it the way I want. This just came right out of the box, and I set it up and shot some B-roll. Back to the accessories, the door knockers. I mean, look at the patina on those things. That's an incredible paint job. It looks like it's brass or aged gold. And if you open the safe, this was a real surprise to me. Check it out. You get a 3rd head sculpt that you can put on this figure or any of the other Four Horsemen figures, because all of their limbs and accessories and stuff are interchangeable, and I really dig that locked jaw skeleton with a padlock on it and the chains. It's just awesome, and I can't say enough great things about this figure. Pick it up if it interests you. Check out Four Horsemen's other figures. You'll be blown away. They do some sci-fi, some dark fantasy, and of course the Figure Obscura, which lends itself to more of the literature or sort of folklore type characters. And they're not done with their Figure Obscura line. They have plans to do a lot more, and these things are great. And I was happy to share this with you. I can't wait to pose them up and set them up with the rest of my holiday figures. I have a few. He's right at home with NECA's Silent Night, Deadly Night figure and the Abominable Snowman from Scooby-Doo. He looks great.
May I?
So maybe in A Christmas Yet to Come, I will cover some more obscure Christmas Carol videos or renditions of that film. And if it's your first time here, I appreciate you stopping down and watching. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button, notification button, and you can stay up to date when I post new videos. And listen, join the conversation. Do you like A Christmas Carol? Do you have a particular version that you watch every year? Do you collect any of the Four Horsemen figures, or especially from their Figure Obscura line? I would love to know. Join the conversation, and it's like I always say at the end of my videos, let's be kind as we rewind and fast forward through time. Thank you so much for stopping by.